everyone. My name is Cassandra Ballantyne, editor of DPS Magazine. Welcome to today's webinar, where we'll be exploring how shifts in technology are creating new opportunities for printers to drive growth and profits. We have guests joining me today from Gelato, a software company that launched GelatoConnect earlier this year. We all know the struggle of keeping up with high demand, minimizing errors, and reducing waste, all while meeting tight deadlines. In this session, we'll take a closer look about how GelatoConnect connects procurement, workflow, and logistics to optimize printers' efficiency, quality, and profitability, all in a single platform. We'll also gain tangible examples of how printers are leveraging the software to transform their operations. Thank you for joining us. Today we have Pradeep Sankaran, SVP of Product at Gelato, and Dom Hill, SVP of Logistics at Gelato, to discuss today how print providers are using GelatoConnect to level up their approach to procurement, workflow, and logistics. Pradeep, let's start with you. Can you start by telling us a little bit about a background on yourself, when you started with Gelato, and what your current role is?
Hi, Cassandra. Firstly, thank you for having us on the podcast. My name is Pradeep. I'm the Senior VP for Products at Gelato. I've been with Gelato for 7 years. My focus is to build great software and solve problems for the printers and the print industry. My background is in technology, and I've always built software products. Print is a $900 billion industry, and while there's been a ton of innovation on the hardware side, I think there is much to catch up on the software side. There's a real big opportunity here for both the printers and the planet. That's what brings me to Gelato.
Great, thank you. Dom, how about yourself? When did you start with Gelato, and what is your current role?
Thanks, Cassandra. Yeah, firstly, echo Pradeep's thoughts. Thank you so much for having us on the show. Excited to share our journey. So my name is Dom. I'm the SVP of Logistics here at Gelato. I've been here for just over 3.5 years. My whole career has been in supply chain and logistics. Previously to this, I was in Amazon Logistics. And my current role is leading the go-to-market, the rollout of GelatoConnect Logistics. So really taking those lessons learned from Amazon, from my previous career, and also from running the logistics operation here at Gelato, and really expanding that, democratizing it, and then offering it out to our network of print providers.
Thank you. So I'll add you both to the stage here, and we'll have a conversation. Let's first quickly go over the history of Gelato and its mission. Pradeep, do you want to share some insights on there?
Yeah, absolutely. Gelato started actually as a greeting card company in Norway back in 2007. I would call that the first phase of our journey. When our founder started navigating expansion to other countries, it was just so clear that producing locally made a ton of sense for print. It's going to cut shipping distances and the associated emissions, and also get the packages faster to customers, while bypassing all of the supply chain disruptions that we see so often. So that was the first phase. We built a network of print producers globally to support this volume from our e-commerce store. And it was not until 2020 that we saw a huge demand for such a network, at which point we opened it up for the creator economy as a whole, and for any business to tap into our network to really produce print locally and on demand. That was the second phase of our journey. Today, Gelato is the world's largest production on demand company, with more than 160 printers worldwide supporting this volume. There is thousands of Shopify and Etsy and all the creator economy merchants who are today producing print on Gelato and shipping it globally. So to support such a global network, we had to be hyper efficient in procuring, producing, and shipping orders. And so we built a software to manage this volume efficiently, and that is the software called GelatoConnect. And when our printers started using it, they came and told us how efficient it was for doing Gelato's work, that they've been asking us to open it up also for their other customers. And that is really what we did. And we opened up Gelato. This year at Drupa, we launched GelatoConnect. So this is the third phase of the journey. It's an end-to-end software that any print provider today can get access to manage their procurement workflow and logistics. And then to zoom back out and sort of think about what is the mission. It is really to transform how the world produces Imagine a world where everything is produced locally and on demand. Imagine the amount of waste that it would reduce when things are only produced when they're ordered, when things are produced close by. So you cut the shipping time, you cut the emissions, and finally, the local community produces more of what the local community consumes. It's just faster, smarter, and greener.
Right. That's a great history lesson. I really appreciate that. Dom, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, well, I think as Pradeep mentioned, the industry really is changing, and there are some really hugely exciting developments that present both enormous challenges, but also enormous opportunities. And I think the fact that GelatoConnect was built on that foundation of 15 years experience in the print-on-demand space, it's what has enabled us to expand and grow to 32 countries, millions of orders, as Pradeep mentioned. I think offering that out to print providers globally, I think that's incredibly exciting, and it's been an amazing journey so far, and I'm really excited to see where we can take it.
Okay, great. So I kind of want to let's focus in more on that and talk to me about GelatoConnect specifically. Maybe a 1,000-foot overview first, which I think you kind of already gave me, but ultimately, what is it, and why should print providers care to know what it is and get to know? Like, we've seen the name come up more and more, so.
Yeah, I think for us, as I alluded to just now, I think the industry is changing. There are big opportunities and big challenges, and I think one of those is the rise of the creator economy, currently valued at $250 billion globally, predicted to double in size by 2027. That massive growth sparked by a few different things. The democratization of e-commerce, as Pradeep mentions, platform like Etsy, they let small businesses scale and compete with global giants through platforms like Gelato. The ever-increasing demand for customization, for personalization, and then the explosion in platforms that enable social shopping like TikTok Shop. All of these things are converging to demand really real change from the industry. The old ways of receiving, producing, shipping orders, we don't think they're going to cut it anymore. Customers really are demanding, better visibility of your order through each stage of the life cycle, like much tighter controls on SLAs, and ultimately more choice, carrier selection, product selection, customization locations. These are huge challenges, but also huge opportunities. But it's also about, it's not just about this emerging opportunity. It's also, how can we be more profitable? How can we be more efficient today? How do we recognize those challenges today? And I think that's where GelatoConnect, based on that 15 years of experience, is fantastically placed to help print providers on this journey.
Okay. Pradeep, do you have anything to add there?
No, I mean, just one example, right? We recently integrated TikTok, which means that a GelatoConnect printer would be able to access volume from TikTok, and they don't really have to do much because it's a native integration. In order to play in that space, you need to have, sort of 2-3 day dispatch and delivery. Otherwise, you as a merchant on a platform like that would be kicked out. Like, right. That's how the emerging generation wants print to be produced and consumed. So in order to take this shift, there is a type of software that is needed.
Perfect. That makes sense. All right, so next, given what you've just said, is there a special market in North America? That's our main audience is in North America. And why is it that we've seen more activity from Gelato over here in the past, since Droop obviously would?
Yeah, well, exactly. So the US landscape in this industry, like both geographically and commercially, has some very unique differences in comparison with European markets. For example, North America is worth 40% of the global creator economy market. But it is difficult to service and access that market, from things like how expensive a US carrier is versus shipping in the UK or shipping in Germany. FedEx can be 5 times more expensive. That's a big challenge. Distances are vast, and it can be difficult to achieve efficiency. And again, that's where I think GelatoConnect really comes in. We can leverage our network, our position in the US, aggregate volumes, help production facilities streamline their operations, and help them automate their end-to-end processes to massively increase their production efficiency and improve their bottom line. And in our experience, US print producers are extremely entrepreneurial. And it was fantastic to see the level of interest that in the market, especially after we launched and presented Printing United this year. And we are incredibly proud and excited to have some early GelatoConnect adopters who are themselves leaders in this space. Names such as the Ansad Company, Bennett Graphics, CBI Print, Hudson Printing, and Quantum Group, just to name just a few of the partners who have embraced GelatoConnect and are excited to join us on this journey.
Pradeep, do you have anything to add there about the North American market?
No, I mean, I'm just incredibly excited and humbled to work with these customers to really, build the solution of the future and take it there. And we feel we have the right cohort to, really push us in that direction.
Yeah, I encourage people to check out some of the case studies on your website because I read a couple and it was just really eye-opening to see how streamlined it's helping like everybody get their streamlined. So my next question is, how is GelatoConnect helping customers adapt to shifts in print buying? We kind of talked about that a little bit, but like with the TikTok and all that kind of stuff, but can you share more insight there?
Yeah, I think it's worth sort of taking a step back. So when we look at the last 10 years, and we did a study with McKinsey, which is a thought leader in a consulting company last year, with 92 printers. What we find is that the print buying has fundamentally changed. I think most of the listeners would recognize this, but it has gone from 3,000 items in an order to like 30, right? Like, so that's a big shift. And personalization is exploding. And if we ask the new generation, would they want a cookie cutter product or would they want it personalized? I think we all know what the answer is, right? Like, and then finally, 10 years ago, there was a machine park which had a few different variations of products and machines that existed. Right now, that has completely exploded because of the type of production technologies and machines. There's been a ton of innovation around that space. And there are so many things that you can decorate right now, and there is really a new market that has formed. So the print software, however, at least in when you compare that to software of other industries, which we love to look at, that has not evolved or kept up. And this is what we hear over and over from our customers, like the customers that Dom mentioned who've signed up. That's one of the reasons why they've signed up. And in order to make the print software fit this new landscape of smaller orders, personalized orders, and machines which are not a single brand or single type of production technology, the printers have had to staff up an engineering team, right? Like, and they've been trying to bolt on solutions across these pieces to be able to work with that and compete in the new landscape. And this is 33% based on the McKinsey study. 33% of printers today are building their own workflow solution. If all of us built our own Microsoft Word in order to write a document, would that be efficient? Like, those are really things that we need to reflect upon. And that's where GelatoConnect comes in. Last 15 years, what we have done is to build a global network and a software to be able to quickly produce and support micro orders, all the way from procuring inventory, production workflow with completely product and machine agnostic workflow, and to ship those orders in the end. So there's a real opportunity here, we feel, to give this to the industry and help them to navigate these challenges.
Okay, Dom, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one of the more surprising sort of impacts and discussion points that we have with potential GelatoConnect customers is the realization of just how much maintenance and how much engineering resources is going into just maintaining their current software systems and the current platform. And actually, when you go through that implementation journey and you see, well, actually now I can free up those developers to do more customer-facing activities, really think about how to actually drive the top end. I think that's been incredibly rewarding to see, and really freeing up that resource to be much more entrepreneurial, to be much more customer-focused.
Right. Okay, so now let's get into GelatoConnect covers procurement, logistics, and workflow. How about we spend a little bit more time reviewing each module? Dom, do you want to start?
Definitely. So GelatoConnect, ultimately, as you mentioned, it integrates procurement, workflow, and logistics into a single unified platform. So if we start with procurement, so GelatoConnect procurement, ultimately this platform automates purchasing. So it includes things like smart inventory management, auto replenishment, basically ensuring that stock levels are always optimized, reducing those out of stock events or eliminating them altogether. We have an extensive supply network ourselves within Gelato. So access to that network with those competitive rates really helps print producers launch new products without having to go and negotiate additional rates. But if one thing we did notice and realize and have now embraced is the fact that a lot of print producers will have their own supplier agreements, their own relationships. We take those, bring them on the platform, and help them onboard those partners, those suppliers within minutes directly into GelatoConnect procurement, and that's been a very powerful feature itself. We monitor inventory in real time, so preventing those costly stock outs, or also helping reduce excess inventory, giving that visibility into what is moving quickly, what have you had on stock for a while. A lot of partners don't have this visibility and have been surprised when they start using the procurement platform, what level of business decisions and what level of granularity they're able to make about their procurement strategy. And then things like expanding into their product portfolio, being able to add new products. This can now be done in hours rather than weeks, rather than months. And that's another powerful feature of GelatoConnect procurement.
Great. Pradeep, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to take an example. One of our customers, Exacta, I mean, they come from a paper printing world, right? Like that's sort of where they started, but they've been able to add and launch and scale in apparel using GelatoConnect. One, they're able to tap into suppliers and distributors of apparel and get going. And then the stack is fully ready for them to start printing, meaning the challenge with the category like apparel, and this could be with other categories as well, but apparel, you need to be able to manage thousands of SKUs, right? Like if you need to manually order, hundreds of SKUs every day in order for you to maintain just in time inventory management, that's just not going to work. And these are some of the elements within, although we have, hyper efficient workflow for paper, there is also an element of emerging products and emerging technologies that we tap into. Today, you could do direct to garment, direct to film. In the future, it would be 3D printing. So for us, we are a sort of technology agnostic platform for you. If there is something that could be manufactured, personalized, that is something that we would put on this platform and support when the time comes.
That's great information. Okay, so many of our listeners come from the commercial print space, and the question on their mind would be, how different is it from their current MIS system? Pradeep, do you want to take that one?
I mean, the key piece that I would like to share here is, again, speaking to so many of our customers, Europe, US, globally, what they see is that fundamentally how they're receiving orders is changing. Now, the B2B or even the B2B orders are coming through a digital asset management platform or a DAM system, right? So, and then there is an explosion of different types of storefronts. So these are orders that are coming programmatically via APIs or automated means. That's the B2B space. And then in the B2C space, and for the products, again, I mean, 10% of all commerce in North America is run on Shopify, right? Like, so this is at least the MI systems of the past. That is not what they were designed for. So it's hard to bucket GelatoConnect as an MI system, although there are many capabilities that would enable that. So I think this is an important factor for all the print producers to consider. The traditional MIS model has been, there is someone whom your customer, who's going to email you or send you an order just because they know you. You're going to create an estimate, and then you're going to send a quote, and then it goes through proofing, and then there is a job ticket which expert operators across the floor are able to decode themselves and being able to produce it. And then the person at the shipping station is going to decode that because of his expertise and produce it. Like, if we think this is the flow of the future, and then if we just compare that to an automobile manufacturing industry or a different sort of lean manufacturing environments, I think we know that is not the future. And what we hear over and over is like investing and maintaining a sales force to be able to support a process like this with a conventional MIS system, that is going to be extremely hard in the future landscape with all of these orders sort of moving to APIs and coming in programmatically. So that is a shift that is important to take on board. And it is those printers who've recognized these shifts and want to be sort of skating where the puck is going, who've also signed up and who are supporting us to build for the future. So this is actually a very important aspect to think about, which is the print MIS world. If you just go back and look at why that made sense some years ago, I think we can all understand that that's the offset world where an average order was 10,000. So you could have a salesperson manage that. You could have expert print operators decode and really involve in the craftsmanship. But right now that is completely changed, and really the question is, how do we adapt to that future?
Great. Dom, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I think in our experience, printers who embrace that change, I think are those who are really setting themselves up for success. It's ultimately it's about making today's operations efficient, profitable, but also about how do I find new sources of volume, new sources of opportunity, and that will be very different from that previous world that Pradeep described. And I think that really is an exciting change.
Yeah, for sure. So next I want to talk about, can you guys describe the ideal print partner, print producer? Pradeep, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I think we just touched a little bit on that. GelatoConnect covers a wide spectrum of use cases. So we are, designed for micro artists, like the book of one, the unit of one sort of workflow. But then, of course, you can just scale that up because it is harder to solve the unit of one. So it is a commercial and an API-based printer, both segments there, who are really interested and are leaning towards where the future is, and to be able to really boost up efficiency while keeping their sort of high quality standards. They are I would say almost concerned about the future. Like when I see the daily updates that are coming in about AI and how technology is shifting the landscape, we do see that the ideal customer is someone who's really thinking about the future, want to secure not just the efficiency of today, but also prepare for the changes that would come tomorrow.
Okay, makes sense. Don, you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I think print producers who are perhaps dabbling their toes in the e-commerce space, in the print on demand space, thinking about how can I access all of this volume that I've heard about. I think that's a print producer who would really benefit from the end-to-end nature of GelatoConnect. But as Pradeep says, we service a complete range, a complete gamut of print producers, all at various stages of that journey.
Great. So can you describe the onboarding process?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think the key thing for us is that configuration versus code, like that's at the heart of our philosophy. So our software is really designed to enable that and to get started quickly. So we've had print producers get live within hours on the software, depending on their use case. And at the same time, we've really divided it into several clear, distinct phases of the onboarding journey. So step one is all about mapping. So what will your use case be? So what product groups are you using? What shipping locations? What are the key lanes? What are the key sizes of products that you're shipping? What are the web front connections that you use or that you would like to use? This is key for setting you up for success. Then it's all about implementation. So based on what we've mapped, what we've understood of your operation, we agree an implementation timeline with clear milestones. And as I said earlier, this could be as short as a few days to a few weeks, depending on the complexity and the level of an extent of that mapping exercise. But it doesn't have to stop there, and it doesn't stop there. Every GelatoConnect customer, we really care about them maximizing their ability and their experience to get the most value from GelatoConnect. So post-implementation, it's all about ensuring we work closely with every Connect partner to ensure that they fully leverage and maximize all the power available to them within the GelatoConnect platform.
Okay, great. Pradeep, do you have anything to add about the onboarding process?
No, I think we've learned a ton, is what we would say. I mean, this is a new product, and in terms of launching it to the market, we launched it Drupa, but we've learned a ton, and we're excited to share that with the next cohort of customers.
Okay, great. So that brings us to the next question. Do you have any real world examples of how customers are benefiting from the software's procurement solution? You kind of mentioned a couple, but maybe we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I do recommend, I think we should add a link to the customer stories page, which I think is the best way to communicate the product. I would share 3 examples. First, ESP Color, their printer in the UK, and I think we all resonate with the time it takes to onboard a new customer and just open that tab when you get that growth opportunity. It was taking them weeks to months. But with GelatoConnect, Dom spoke about that. We enable configurations, and we have presets and templates to be able to onboard customers and define products. So they were able to, add customers within hours and add a new revenue channel. So I think that is very exciting. Again, all of these on the customer stories homepage. The second one I would call out is Exacta in Sweden. They in their poster sorting and packaging process alone, for let's say 2,000 posters, they were able to cut the time from 10 to 12 hours for the packager to 3 to 4 hours. And they were able to basically now during peak multiply their volume by 3 times without having to add any more headcount in the packaging process. So that's an example of sort of production efficiency. The third example, and then this goes to the power of the software, part of what GelatoConnect does is also our proprietary imposition algorithm. And when they switched over, this is Bennett Graphics in the US, when they switched and activated their first customer, just with the first customer, they were looking at paper savings upwards of 25%. And just for that one customer, they saved more than $100,000 in a year. So these are just some of the examples of value points and ROI that our customers are starting to see.
That's great. Dom, do you have anything to add there?
I think one of my favorite examples is one of our GelatoConnect customers using and how they use the mobile app. So I think we haven't dived into the mobile app on this call, but I actually think that it's one of the most powerful features of GelatoConnect, that you can manage your facility wherever you are. Be you're at the gym, you're in the car, you're on the bus, you can manage your facility. And we were with a GelatoConnect customer who noticed on their app that they were running low on a particular apparel SKU. So they placed a reorder immediately, and they then don't have to worry about being out of stock. All of that on the bus while having a conversation with us. I think that was a really powerful example of the visibility that the software brings and enables you to manage your facility with real deep level of insight.
I love that. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so we're going to wrap up with a lot of information we had here. Let's end the call with what we can expect next from Gelato. I know you guys just released GelatoConnect, but I'm sure you got stuff in the works. Dom, you want to take that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're shipping new features every single week. The product is changing at a vast pace. But I think some of the really interesting, really exciting features that are coming up for me, things like freight shipping. So we're going to be adding freight shipping into GelatoConnect Logistics. So not just packages, but also pallets, LTL, FTL, really moving into that space as well to offer a complete solution for our print producers. Things like the carbon emissions calculator. So you're running your own business. You need to think about how you're complying with regulation, and actually getting into the weeds of exactly how much carbon you're producing through GelatoConnect. I think that's hugely exciting. And then virtual network capabilities. So you want to access volume. You're based in one physical location. You want to service a particular customer who may have global volume. Well, how do you do that? Well, one way is through our virtual network, through GelatoConnect, where you can tap in to that network of print producers and service global volume through that network. And I think that's going to be extremely powerful.
Okay. Anything on your end?
No, I just want to, just closing. I want to add, the problem or the challenges in the industry, what we hear is that there isn't a lack of software. I went to Capterra and just searched for print software. There were 103. I don't think the problem is that we need a 104th software, but the problem is that currently there are so many point solutions that the printers have had to bolt on and try to piece together to make sense of it and make efficiency. So for us, the only thing I would leave with is like, how would it look like when these different solutions actually spoke to each other? So that's our vision, to give that horizontal solution, not vertical point solutions, to really drive a profitability.
Right. I think that's important. Okay, so I'm wrapping up now. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. For everybody watching, if you'd like to learn more about Gelato, visit gelato.com and follow them on social. Their LinkedIn page will keep you up to date on the latest and greatest, and feel free to connect with Dom and Pradeep directly on LinkedIn. And if you're coming in late, a replay will be available using the same link. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Thank you, Cassandra.